At exactly 12:14 a.m., alarms inside a top-secret underground bunker began to scream. On the main command screen, a word flashed in blood-red text: launch. A United States nuclear missile was heading straight for Moscow. According to strict military protocol, the man in charge had less than 20 minutes to authorize a catastrophic retaliatory strike. In September 1983, global paranoia was already peaking. 3 weeks earlier, the Soviet Union had shot down a civilian Korean Airlines flight, killing all 269 people on board, including an American congressman. U.S. President Ronald Reagan had publicly labeled the Soviet Union an evil empire. Both superpowers were on hair-trigger alert, with nuclear bombers fueled and coordinates locked. The Cold War had reached the state of an active powder keg. One single spark now guaranteed global annihilation. Hidden in the forest south of Moscow sat Serpukhov 15, an ultra-secret command center. This bunker housed the brains of the Soviet Union's brand-new satellite early warning system, codenamed OKO. OKO was the crown jewel of Soviet defense, a trillion-dollar network designed to eliminate human error and provide instantaneous detection of a nuclear launch. Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov was a highly trained analytical engineer filling in for an officer who had called in sick. He expected a routine shift, but a twist of fate had just placed the fate of human civilization in his hands. The bunker's sirens were deafening. The system upgraded its alert from 1 missile to 2, then 3, then 4. Within seconds, it flashed the ultimate warning. 5 intercontinental ballistic missiles were in the air. Petrov's subordinates waited for his command. They were trained to obey the machines, and the machines said that destruction was now imminent. A later, highly classified investigation revealed that the OKO system was not technically malfunctioning. Instead, it was accurately misreading a specific environmental anomaly. The satellite had been positioned in an orbit where, at a precise time of day, the Earth's horizon, the satellite, and the sun aligned perfectly. Intense sunlight reflected off high-altitude clouds over North Dakota, bouncing directly into the satellite sensors. The system's sensors mistook this specific layer for the thermal plumes of rocket engines, interpreting a sunbeam as a nuclear strike. The most advanced automated defense network in the world had been fooled by a reflection, proving that even the most reliable algorithms possess fatal blind spots. Back in the bunker, Petrov was flying blind. He had to choose between the machine's high-confidence alert and his own strategic intuition. Petrov noticed a glaring anomaly. A real preemptive strike would involve hundreds of missiles fired simultaneously to overwhelm defenses. To Petrov, 5 missiles seemed like an absurdly inefficient way to start a global war. He couldn't verify the attack with ground radar because the Earth's curvature blocked the line of sight. By the time ground radar could see the missiles, impact would be only minutes away. With less than 10 minutes remaining, Petrov picked up the secure telephone line to Army headquarters and reported a false alarm, choosing to trust his logic over the automated apparatus. The bunker went silent as the clock ticked down. Petrov sat in his chair, staring at the timer, knowing that if a flash of white appeared on the screen, he had just doomed his country. By relying on strategic context over raw data, Petrov outsmarted the algorithm. He demonstrated why human judgment is the only true failsafe in automated decision-making. The projected time of impact arrived, and nothing happened. The sirens stopped, the screens reset, and Moscow remained intact. Petrov had been correct. Instead of receiving medals, Petrov's actions humiliated the scientists and generals who had built the defective system. Acknowledging his heroism meant admitting the Soviet military's pride was flawed. Petrov was subjected to intense questioning and reprimanded for minor logbook errors made during the crisis. Shortly after, he was quietly reassigned and pushed into early retirement. It was a bitter irony of the Soviet regime. A rigid, protocol-driven bureaucracy punished the very man whose flexibility saved it from total annihilation. For over a decade, Petrov lived in a modest apartment outside Moscow, surviving on a tiny state pension. His role in preventing a nuclear holocaust remained a buried state secret. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, the story finally came to light. Petrov was flown to the United States and given awards at the United Nations, finally receiving international recognition. Petrov remained fiercely humble until his death in 2017. He consistently refused the title of hero, telling reporters he was simply the right person at the right time, doing his job. The survival of the species came down to the courage of one individual to question a machine. It serves as a permanent reminder that human judgment is the only true failsafe against the systems we built.